like everybody else. Being myself is something I do well. Whatever you do, do it good. Whatever you do.
Hiya Serge, sorry for the delay in posting your online recap. I've had a few things going on at the club recently and I've only just got round really to sitting down and looking at the online requests. As per our sort of conversation online, focusing a little bit more on specific drills and exercises to tidy up what's happening here during your swing. And I've listed my main concerns down there on the right. I think you do a lot of things well in your swing. One thing I would say is from P4 to P6, you just miss it on the camera there, but you could do with getting back into flexion a little bit more. You tend to max out the hip slide and extension piece, but there's maybe not enough rotation. So there's the hips sliding forward and the hips tucking under, but the hips don't really continue to turn. But we'll go through that in a little bit more detail when we start working through the drills. I also think on the way back from face on, you just hang on to your forward bend a little bit too much here. So there's a little bit too much angle away from your left side. So just feel like you're going to extend and left tilt for a little bit longer in the backswing. Having said that, relating to your ball flight, what I would look at doing is controlling what the right knee is doing. It flexes forward too long. See a little bit of separation there in the legs. I mean, there's two ways you can approach this. First of all, I would spend time hitting shots with your right leg very straight. So straighten up the right leg at P1 and keep it bolt straight throughout your golf swing. And that would be my first protocol. Just to control what that right knee's doing, help feel that right hip's getting up a little bit more during the backswing. It's also going to aid you in improving your P4 position from face on. And then once you've done that and you get a little bit more familiar, I would then take it to the next level, which will be what you see Mark Ramsdale demonstrating here on the bottom left. We've got a cane in the ground, touching his right knee at P1. Just take that back down. So the cane's where the knee would be. Now if you remember from reading the book and watching the DVDs, what we need to happen is from P4 to P5, maybe just beyond P5.5, the right knee should return into its address flex, but then never past that point. So you see a little bit more linear movement, a little bit less sort of gaps between the knees. So no over flexing of the right knee, and it depends on the individual. Guys who don't move the hips forward as well as you do, the over flexing of the right knee will cause the club to get out in front of them too much. That's one of Mark's issues with it. However, in your case, you sort of flex the right knee into the ball, sit back, pull the haunches underneath you, push the hips towards the ball as well, and that in turn can get you stuck on the inside a little bit. If we take a little look at your shoulders at P6, still very, very shut off with the shoulders. So not really flexing forward enough with the upper body, and a little bit too much tucking of the hips and flexing of the right knee at that point. So control what the right knee's doing from P6, from P6 to P8. Don't let it flex forward too much. And then the other thing I would look at is, I'm just going to quickly sort of backtrack on this face on video, and what I want you to do is pay attention to the guy who's behind you. He looks like he's played before, looks a pretty handy player, and look at that position there where the arms are very, very straight, the hips are tucking underneath, there's been some linear movement, but both arms very straight. And if you then contrast that to what you're seeing on the way through pretty good from P1 to P4. Like I said, I could do with a little bit more extension. Throw the hips out a little bit too much. Forget about the turning. And then there you go. Elbows divide, elbows flex. Again, mechanism to prevent you hitting the ground behind the ball. Also a mechanism to shift the plane to the left. If you didn't do that, you'd hit a lot of big pushes to the right. Unfortunately, when you're doing that, it's a very chaotic way of swinging a golf club. So we need to tidy up what the arms are doing through impact. See, there's a huge separation between the elbows from P7 to P8 stroke P9. So how are you going to do that? Well, what we've got here is Paul straight underneath you, going through an isolation exercise, a little bit like with the isolation of the backswing, where you extend, turn and left tilt. What we need to do now is give you a roadmap of where to swing to, a feeling of where to swing to through impact. So what we're doing here with Paul is we're going to put each piece in. So there's the extension piece. So there's the tucking of the hips. There would then be a slight uncocking of the wrists. You would then max out the hip slide before rotating to face your target. Now you can see that position you're in there now, P8, P9 would be ideal. Everything in there is what we're seeing with our friend at the back. So if we just play him through, get him into his position again. You know, this is the sort of position you want to swing into. And there's a real contrast to the position you see yourself in. So the guy there behind you has maxed out his hip slide, he's tucked the hips underneath, he's raised the handle of the club, maybe released it a little bit too much, but he's kept both arms straight. And that's what that drill is designed to do. So again, I'm just going to play this through for you. You can hear me talking through. There you go. Now if you contrast that to what you're seeing with yourself in that same position, huge difference. So your body's very good at finding what it's familiar with. Sometimes we've got a very clear destination with the downswing. You know, the golf balls there, we're looking at it, we want to swing to the golf ball. We then sort of don't really have a destination of, in the through swing, where do we swing to? That we've hit the ball and then, right, we'll forget about it now, the ball's gone. So, controlling what the right knee is doing is very important. We don't want that flexing forward too much. That can get the hips tucking underneath us rather than getting us back into flexion. So we've got to control what that's doing through the golf ball. And then we've also got to tidy up what we're doing from P7 to P8 stroke P9. So plenty of work on each drill. Control what the right knee's doing. Like I said, from P up to P4, maybe add a little bit of extension and left tilt. Do both for longer. But my main concern would be the drill through impact that you see Paul demonstrating there. I'd like to see you work massively on that. Above all else, really, I mean, that would be, if you had to pick one of these pieces to improve, that would be the one. Tidy up P9 and then go from there. Good luck with it, and please feedback as to your progress. Well done.